Welcome to the Feudal Anime Podcast, episode 12. I am your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are going to be talking about some of the anime that we are watching in the winter of 2019. This also includes some anime that are from previous seasons or years as well. So, to start things off, the first anime that we are actually going to talk about is, or that I would like to talk about a little bit, is The Rising of the Shield Hero. The synopsis of it is, stories of old tell of four otherworldly heroes wielding the sword, spear, bow, and shield, who defended the land from wave after wave of calamity. With the fate of the world in balance, the kingdom of Malarames summons these legendary figures in modern-day Japan. The call is answered, and the unwitting heroes are transported to this fantasy universe. Thrust into the kingdom and given the title of Shield Hero, Otaku Naofumi is labeled the weakest due to his lack of offensive capability and apparent inexperience. When the heroes part ways to start their journeys, his only willing companion, the beautiful Princess Malti, however, she soon betrays him, steals all his money, and accuses him of taking advantage of her. For his alleged crimes, he is branded a criminal and made outcast of society. With hatred filling his heart, he sets out alone, vowing vengeance against those who wronged him. Now, I feel like that's actually a fairly accurate synopsis of the series. It definitely starts off with him being accused, and that's episode 1. And I don't know about you, if I was in his shoes, I would definitely also be pretty bitter about how I was treated simply because of this.
Absolutely. The awesome part about this, and I would want to say the marketing, if you will, about this whole thing was they released a 45-minute first episode preview. And what I mean by that is they released the episode 1 in its entirety, minus the opening credits and the ending credits. And it was 45 minutes of pure story. And it got me excited. I watched it like 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly there. It was great that they did that for the first 45 minutes. They didn't leave you with this random cliffhanger like, well, that's kind of messed up. It's like, no, they set up everything for this. It was truly done tastefully, I feel.
Yeah. Whereas other anime would have been akin to cutting you off at the half-hour mark where he was accused of rape and stripped of everything. Right. And the last scene probably would have been him throwing the money. Here, take this too, and walking out, and then freeze frame, and then like turn the drawing into a watermark, if you will, kind of thing, and then roll credits. But with this one, they're like, you know what? No, I don't think that's enough to hook you. Now he sees this pitiful slave, and he's like, I think I want her, and then done, and you're like, oh yes. And I'm not gonna lie, I was real disappointed when I watched it the next time, when it was supposed to come out, only to realize it was the exact same thing I had already seen. But there was so much controversy around it because it does highlight false rape accusations and slavery and all these negative things that we see in the real world where we're like, this is horrible, but in game world, it's completely normal and second nature almost.
If I may.
Not the rape one.
If I may.
You may.
This anime is considered controversial in Western society. It's not considered that at all in Japan. They don't see it like that. They see it as a great story, a great development for the hero and everything else. Now, I might add also that the 4 heroes aren't all from the same universe. It's not even a game world. They are all from parallel versions of Japan. So it gives each one their own specific story and how they're coming about, and you can tell who's gullible and who's not. It starts off with our pro tag being gullible and being taken advantage of right off the bat, but he's betrayed and instantly has distrust in everyone, hence why he goes for slavery. Now, the person he's enslaved isn't human. They're a demi-human. They're half animal, half human, and when they level up, they age. So it definitely gives that kind of a retrospect in regard to it. Now, as the story progresses on, I feel it's definitely developing wonderfully. It is rated PG-13. too, I might add. So it doesn't have anything super gory or controversial in that regard. But
there is blood. There is more blood in this than there was in Naruto, say. Now, the cool part about it is it's not done in an excessive manner. You are correct. It is PG-13. And in just like a game, you start off with minor creatures such as balloon monsters, and they pop with no actual internal organs or anything like that. And they leave the balloon behind as the reward, or the husk, if you will. And the stronger you get, the bigger prey you're allowed to hunt, essentially. And you finally get to like bunnies and monster bunnies technically, and then rabid wolf dog things. And when you kill them, they do bleed and they do give you a hide and stuff like that. So just like a regular game, the stronger the opponent, the more realistic attributes, and it's kind of cool. And the stronger he gets, the more he's able to feed his shield, and the more abilities he's able to unlock.
Right.
And
so
it's also kind of important to notice that his treatment is of the nature where everybody else is being handed everything. He has to earn it. For instance, he has to read in order to learn spells.
Right. And,
whereas the other
and
guys
this is
don't.
truly where it really sets it apart from a lot of the other ones, where most of the people, when they're summoned into a new world, they're instantly OP'd or they're given everything off the bat, whereas if this is a nice change of pace. And it is not that at all. He has to earn everything, and he gets it through the mistrust of others as well. So he doesn't trust anyone, and he bullies everyone into treating him fairly or giving him the same deals or rates that everyone else gets. Now,
correct.
We just had episode 7, I believe, just aired, and it airs on Wednesdays. Here in the US, anyways, it airs Wednesdays, and it is slated for 25 episodes in total. So
to be perfectly honest, that is, I hope that they go for more after this, because it is such a great thing. 2 seasons might not be enough.
Right. Yeah, I'm right there with you. More than this, I would love to have more than this. I mean, like, honestly, if they stopped at 25 and they continue writing it, I'm probably going to end up going and reading the light novel that it's based on.
This is so good. I'm going to have to agree. It's very similar to Attack on Titan as far as the addictiveness and how good the storytelling is. This is probably one of the few that I would actually go past the anime and look up and look into.
Yep. All right. So what's the next one?
Well, my personal goodness. Do you remember One Punch Man?
I do.
At all? Well, the same author, I believe his name is One, ironically enough, wrote an anime called Mob Psycho 100, and it just came out with another season, which is why I believe it fits into the criteria of winter 2019. So here's the plot. Shigeo Kageyama, I don't really know how to say that last name, unfortunately, is an average middle school boy nicknamed Mob for lacking a sense of presence. Although he looks like an inconspicuous person, he's in fact a powerful character, a powerful esper with immense psychic power or ability. To keep from losing control of this power, he constantly lives a life under an emotional shackle. In order to help learn how to control his ability, Mob works as an assistant to a con man named Reagan, a self-proclaimed psychic. Mob wants to live a normal life just like those around him, but a barrage of trouble keeps coming after him. With his suppressed emotions growing inside Mob little by little, his power threatens to break through its limits as he eventually encounters other powerful espers. Now, the cool part about this is every episode is a closed episode. What I mean by that is you have a problem and a solution in the same episode. Now, it does follow a linear story path, which is nice, but it doesn't give you any cliffhangers like next time on and stuff like that. So if you know a fight is coming, you don't have to wait another week to see the fight. And when a conflict is coming, you don't have to wait a week for the resolution. It's given to you right then and there with a hint of what's to come. And each episode is so well done. It brings you back successfully every single time. Even if it's a filler episode, I enjoyed most of the episodes, if not all of them.
Now, I have seen the first season. I have not seen the second one. Would you like how many episodes is this one? Is it slated for the same number of episodes as the first season, or?
I don't really have an end date as far as when it's supposed to stop. I know that the first season is 12 episodes. The second season is supposed to also be 12 episodes, but it's an ongoing manga, so I'm hoping it continues on forward. The difference between the first season and the second season, the first season, it's kind of like introducing him and introducing all the characters and introducing all the bad essential people and showing you that he's that much stronger than everybody else. The second season allows him to evolve on an emotional, personal scale. Like, you'll notice he's in the bodybuilding thing so he can get a better body and not like to look all muscular, but to have like a regular person's endurance, walking a mile without dying, basically lifting, a 5-pound backpack without keeling over because it's so heavy, that kind of thing. But in this one, he learns in the most recent episodes, he's actually learned to say no. Whereas before he was a doormat and he was the yes man. Reluctantly, he would say no, but he would do it anyway. So if I'm like, hey, Jack, I need you to write this paper for me, and you start to protest, I'm like, oh, no, you're great at it. I know you can do it. You'll do it so much better than me. I'll pick it up by 5. And I walk away, not giving you an opportunity to say anything more. And you reluctantly do it because I'm depending on you. He's very similar to that way, whereas Reagan will be like, hey, I need you to come here, click. And he's like, but I'm with my friends right now. Or Reagan's expecting him to show up, and he's like, hey, guys, I got to go. My job's calling me. Whereas and later on he goes, you know what? No, you got to stand on your own 2 feet. You got to stop calling me on such short notice. I have a life too. I've been working really hard, and this second season is the progression, which is really awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, definitely sounds pretty good. A nice contrast from the first season to the second season, where he was trying to build up his physical strength and attributes in that sense. And now he's trying to develop himself with a little bit more character is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Right on. It's and 12 episodes, just like the first season. So it'll be a nice, quick, short series that I will probably have to start watching again, since I really enjoyed the first season. In general, I feel like it'll continue on a very good note, and probably we'll see more of it coming out in future seasons. I'm hoping that in any ways. I'm
hoping as well. It seems like it could go the distance as far as withstanding the test of time, because it's not over the top, if that makes any sense. And it gives you a story that it's relatable and it is funny.
Yeah.
At times. So, but let's see what you're looking at.
All right. My next pick for the one that I am actually currently watching is The Promised Neverland. The brief synopsis is a Gracefield house. Life couldn't be better for the orphans. Though they have no parents together of all the kids, they have the overlooker called Mama, who is very kind and cares for them. They form one big happy family. No child is ever overlooked, especially since they all are adopted at the age of 12, or at least by the age of 12. Their daily lives involve rigorous tests, but afterwards, they're allowed to play outside. There is only one rule they must obey: do not leave the orphanage. But one day, 2 of the top scoring orphans, Emma and Norman, venture past the gate and unearth the harrowing secret behind the entire existence. Utilizing their quick-wittedness, the children must work together to somehow change their predicted fate. Now, this anime is very heavily on the psychological portion of it. And you learn actually throughout the series as well. I mean, it's, first of all, you learn that the children are actually being given to demons, or what they consider to be demons. And you also learn about 5 episodes in, that where they are, the Gracefield house, it's actually a farm. And the children are all basically the product of that farm. And they...
Like a plant?
Yep. Basically, they're like a plant. They're human plants. So the reason why they are no older than 12 by the time they go is because that's when they're at the peak of tastiness, apparently. And it also deals with the size of their brain, or not the size of their brain, but how intelligent they are. So if you have a lower score when you're going through those rigorous tests, you're first one gone.
That is horrific.
Yeah. And so their whole plan is to learn how to escape, or they're trying to escape. And you find out that the third guy, whose name is Ray, he actually knew about it since he was like 6 years old. And he's been basically a spy for Mama. Now, another interesting thing is Mama, the caretaker of the facility, it's always a woman. And you also learn that they used to be one of the orphans. And through perseverance and diligence, they're able to become their own mama of a farm.
That is horrific.
It is a really horrific but really intriguing anime, and it is also at 7 episodes long currently. It is slated for 12, so I'm really interested to seeing how it ends. I really cannot wait for it to at least kind of show a conclusion for it. But they do such a wonderful job where you're just like, the people that are bad, you're like, I really don't like you. Like, you drive me up a wall. Like,
but who in there is actually bad?
Mama, and then they introduce another character named who's called Sister Kona, and she is like, you could tell she is off her rocker. She's like not all there because she talks to a doll, and you can tell she's not all there. She wants to become Mama. She wants to be in charge of her own farm so bad that she is doing everything she can to make sure that she becomes that. And the last episode ended on with her receiving a letter saying that she's going back out. So you learn about the farm, how they're being chosen, and some of the more underlying features of it all. And it is riveting enough for me to keep coming back. You know, so you learn the reason why their clothes are that way, they're well fed and everything like that, is because they are the product of that farm.
So I'm kind of curious, this premise, you start with what? How many kids do you think would be the average?
I don't know. I mean,
how many kids are at this orphanage?
They don't really specify.
Oh, okay. Well, how many main characters are you able to identify?
You're able to identify 3, and then they're talking to 2 others. But I mean, like, if you had to count, I mean, like maybe 20, 30 people are at that orphanage with one caretaker.
Sorry. So out of the 25, 30 kids that are there, only one will survive to become a caretaker themselves.
Only if they are able to persuade people that that's what they want, or if they are chosen. At the age of 12, It doesn't matter. At age 12, you're gone. So the 3 main protagonists all become 12 soon, and they're all the top scorers. And if you're top scoring, you get to stay there longer if you do perfect on your scores. If you have the lowest score, you're gone. You're someone's food.
So Mama isn't 12 yet?
No, Mama is older than 12. She's 31, I believe. This is what they said.
So Mama was a successful top of her class 12-year-old, basically.
Basically, she kept pushing, and she, at the recommendation of her mama, was able to become a mama herself.
Oh, no. So you're basically perpetuating you're saving yourself by sacrificing hundreds of others.
Yes.
That's intriguing.
It is really good. The animation also kind of reminds me a little bit of Dragon Ball in the terms of the style of it. So
really,
yeah, just a little bit, just a tad.
Is it a fighting anime, you think?
No, not at all.
So it's a mental game, essentially.
Wholly mental. It is I would classify it as maybe a psychological thriller.
You know, looking at it, a psychological thriller drawn by the animators from Dragon Ball, that's something to look forward to, I think. So I'm gonna give that one a shot, maybe 2 or 3 episodes. How many did it take for you to get into it, do you think?
I would say by the 2nd episode, I was drawn into it.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. It sounds interesting. It sounds nice as far as something to occupy the empty hours of the night.
Yeah.
But let's move on to my choice. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. My choice, my next choice, is something that I personally feel is a strong candidate for best of this season.
Ooh.
I'm biased. I know, but best new one of the season. And that is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. So That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is a Japanese fantasy light novel series by Fuse and illustrated by Mitz Va. It was a series online, or serialized online, between 2013 and 2016 on the user-generated novel publishing website. I'm not even going to try. The Shozuki ni Naro. I did try.
Yet you tried.
Yeah, and I did try. It was acquired by Micro Magazine, who published the first light novel volume in 2013. 12 novels have been released as of July of 2018, and the light novel has been licensed by North America Yen Press,
Okay.
who also published the first volume in 2017, December. Well, this is just the history of it. So the plot of this one is Satoru Mikami. I'm horrible with last names, unfortunately. Well, names in general, but that's neither here nor there. He's an average 37-year-old worker from Tokyo with no girlfriend who was asked for marriage advice by Tamura. After meeting him and his partner Miho, who on the streets, he is stabbed to death by a passing robber. And he is reincarnated in another world as a slime with the ability to devour other creatures and obtain their abilities, making some requests during his death, or after making some requests during his death. Upon making friends with the dragon Veldora, the slime known as Rimuru Tempest embarks on a journey to find a way to free Veldora from his seal, encountering many different races away. That's the plot. To go a little bit farther into his request, on dying, he was like, I really don't, it's kind of cold. And then he's got this thing in his head saying, oh, okay, so inability to feel cold, inability to feel hot. And it's like when you start a game, you use your skill points to acquire abilities for your character. And one of the things he jokingly says is that he's still a virgin, and that you might even be able to get great sage mode because only wise men are able to last that long without succumbing to the wiles of a woman. And he's given the great sage ability, where anything he asks in this new world after he was reincarnated is answered by this computer, so to speak. And he goes through life and he's like, I don't really know what's going on. For the first, I want to say 2 years of his reincarnation, and he's just in this cave as a slime. He just starts eating everything. And he's like, I guess that's what I'm supposed to do as a slime. What does a slime do? A slime eats stuff. All right, let's start eating stuff. And he starts eating all the plants, all the rocks in this huge cave, just devouring everything he has access to. It takes a while for him to do it, and he realizes that he has a almost unlimited supply of space in his body for the things that he eats. And
he can actually call them all out again too. So it's not that he stores it all. He's able to not only store it, but he can bring it back out. He can recreate or duplicate it if he has all the materials to recreate or duplicate those materials as well. Create other objects if he's able to scan it. And it also goes for the monsters. So when he takes in those monsters, he's not even just taking on their abilities. He's able to also recreate how they look. Also, when he consumes something, he is able to learn about that item or monster or whatever else. And so the Great Sage also is able to give him all this information about everything else that goes on. Now, he consumes the barrier with the dragon in it. Valdron, I think is what the name is. And in order to try and figure out a way to be able to break that barrier and release him, because he considers him to be a kind of a kindred spirit. You also learn that people are either summoned or recreated in that world as well. Not everyone, just select people are.
And these people who are summoned are actually much stronger, but they gain that power, but they have a lifespan of about 10 years.
Right.
Unfortunately. And to give you an idea, someone who is summoned is typically summoned as a hero for a country. And once their duty is done, they throw them away essentially because their lifespans are so short. Reincarnated has a unique ability. For instance, the slime's unique ability, Rimuru's special ability. The slime's ability is Predator, and it allows him to consume these other animals, like you were saying, but not just consume them, but replicate them. So when he goes into their form, he's at the highest point that they're able to evolve given his magic level. So when he absorbs the base dire wolf, he becomes the dire wolf with 2 spikes on his head, and it's like the thunder or something. I don't know the name of it, but it's the highest form of evolution that he's able to encompass. And he's able to use certain abilities independent of their bodies. For instance, he absorbs a spider and he's able to throw sticky web out without having transformed into the spider. So that's kind of cool. And he starts building his perfect society, if you call it that.
Well, he's not really trying to build his perfect society. He's just trying to build a society that he feels would be appropriate in general. And one of the things I truly enjoy about this anime is that he's portrayed to be the strongest at the beginning because he's so OP'd. But then as the story has been progressing on, you learn that he by far is not the strongest by any means. He's just really intelligent and smart in how he approaches things. So he doesn't have to be the absolute strongest, nor does he have a desire to be the strongest. He just wants to have a peaceful, nonchalant kind of life, is one of the things he's really shooting for. Now, the anime as a whole right now, I feel is great. It's really progressing along nicely. It's got great character development all the way through it so far. And it's slated for 25 episodes, I believe, in that regard.
Plus an OVA.
Plus an OVA. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping it rounds out really nicely in the end.
It's starting to ramp up right now. But going back to your point, as far as he wants to leave a simple life, that's literally all he wants. Yeah. And because of his power, people keep thrusting more and more responsibility on him, which is why he built his whole civilization. And he's trying to create treaties with everybody. And since we're on episode 20, we only have 5 episodes to resolve the biggest issue of him having to potentially face the demon lord of that time.
One of the demon lords of that time. He's befriended a couple of others and even created a treaty with one of them as well.
Very, very true. But with only 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting with only 5 episodes being left. I am really interested to see how everything's going to kind of round out in the end and just truly kind of hopefully give a great closure and not leave an open ending like what we have been watching lately.
I have a very strong suspicion that's going to be an open ending to either encourage us to read the manga or hopefully encourage the network to produce a season 3.
I'm hoping they continue with another season, or if they do the OVA, I just hope the OVA provides the closure that I so desperately crave all the time. I really do.
Well, speaking of closure and giving you what you crave, I think that brings us to the end of this podcast.
Well, at least this for episode. Today and this episode only, not the end of the podcast. I hope not anyways. In general, I feel the animes that we are currently watching are great. There are others out there that we are both watching in the episodes to come. We may even talk about them. If you would like to know what those are, feel free to reach out to us at feudalaanimepodcast@gmail.com. And we will be happy to respond to you. Please also don't forget we are on iTunes as well. So please give us a rating, leave a review, and also don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast catcher. Until next time.
Later, man.